Howdy there, folks. How are y'all doing? My name is Reese, and welcome back to our awesome adventure extravaganza of fun times to be had in the excellent world of Tekkit Main to the Moon, where we're going to the moon. Take me to the moon. I don't want to let you go till we've gone vroom, vroom. That's the sound the rocket's going to make. It's going to be a great time. We're looking for marble, and I'm going on a theory that it only appears in certain biomes. I haven't read that on any particular wikis, or I haven't heard it from anyone with any level of authority on the subject. Kind of just making it up and hoping for the best. And the best is yet to come, and babe, won't we die? Oh, thank goodness. I thought that wasn't going to render. So, last time, we just sort of rambled. I was getting myself back into the groove of recording content, because I haven't done it in a very long time. And I think now, having listened back to that footage, I might have forgotten how to record content. I don't really know what I'm doing anymore, which is, I would say, a shame, but it's not really a skill that I need to have long-term moving forward. So I'm not too pressed about it. But one of the things we talked about in the video before last was Final Fantasy VII. Now, it was sort of a non-spoilery discussion, but this time around, I thought we'd get a little bit spoilery. And I'm going to touch on each and every aspect of the game, and I'm about to drop some major spoilers, and we're just going to discuss everything in depth. So, first off, we are talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I should clarify that. Like, I'm not going to drop, like, an original Final Fantasy VII. Like, Aerith dies! Yeah, we're spoiling everything. Both games. I don't actually have much to say on it. I don't remember what we discussed last time, but having had the months now to think back on it, I think I want to replay it soon. Probably try to 100% it. A lot of the faults stand out more that I am looking back on it. There's a bunch of boring bits in that game that I don't want to redo, because they just seem like they'd be an awful pain. Like, anytime you have to walk down a long hallway. Oh, or that thing that the PS4 makes you do, because even the PS4 Pro has a potato. It's a potato, and you plug it into the wall, and you plug the other into the screen, and it's such a potato that it can't even load assets in quickly enough to go between two places. So it makes you walk down a hallway. And the reason it does this, they did this in Jedi Fallen Order 2, but not as often. And the reason is, on potato consoles, you have to break up the action, basically, and put absolutely nothing on the screen, so that everything behind you can be unloaded and a bunch of new stuff can be loaded in front of you. And that's what those hallways are for. That's what those hallways accomplish. Hopefully that won't be a thing with the Series X and the PS5. Hopefully fast SSDs and decompression and all of that. Hopefully we'll just be able to, bam, load new areas in front of you instantaneously, and hopefully that comes over to the PC with the release of things like the new 3000 series, 3080 and 3070 and the 3090 and all of that. They have new compression or decompression technology that takes the strain off of the CPU and allows the GPU to do a lot of, like, graphical decompression on the fly, which is cool. Which means we might actually get to take advantage of the SSDs that we have had on PCs now for a decade. It's so funny to hear console manufacturers talk now about how they're having the latest SSD technology, as though SSDs are this new fancy thing. My first gaming PC had one in 2013, and they weren't new then. And to this day, PC gaming has been held back by the need to make games that are compatible on consoles with spinning rust drives. It's very frustrating, but it's no longer a thing, because we're moving into a new era, and by the time you're watching this, you might even have a PS5, or they're sold out. I don't know. I think this will probably come out in like a week or two's time. I haven't decided. I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to release it. So, the PS5 is close now. The Series X is close now. Halo. Boy, was that a launch title I was looking forward to. What do y'all, hold on a minute. What do y'all think about this? Let me swing back around here. Does this island look like it might have what we're looking for? Does this seem like the sort of island that... It doesn't look like a jungle island, does it? Let's get out of our boat and hope it doesn't crash into the island, because we have very limited amount of wood. If it breaks, we do have an extra boat, and that's about it. All right. I wish now that we had brought a single sapling on the off chance that things get very bad here. But I suppose if they do get very bad here, we can just darn it. we can just teleport back or something. I'll cheat in some way and it'll be fine. Nobody sweat it. We're not going to be stranded here. That would be ridiculous. Stranded Season 3 confirmed? Oh, that would be a fun conversation topic. We could talk about that. But yeah, I'm not amped for the new consoles. I've got all of the current ones. I've got a PS4 Pro. I've got an Xbox One X. I got a Switch. I like the Switch the most. It's not particularly powerful, but I like the games on it more. You know, that's one of the things. Oh, there's a conversation topic. Fanboys. Oh, I hate them. I hate fanboys because they're so dumb. Here's the problem with fanboyism, right? When you convince yourself that the thing you love is perfect and everyone else should like it too because it's so much better than everything else, sort of in spite of facts and logic and reasoning, then you blind yourselves to the flaw in a product, so much so that you will buy a flawed product and pretend that you like it and just live sort of a worse life. It's like Apple fanboys. Like, I own a lot of Apple products, but Apple's sort of a sleazy company, and I don't particularly like their business practices. I do like their products, though. I'm not a fanboy of them. They're not for everyone. Very few people need a Mac. Most people could probably buy and get by on a Google. What are those little Google the Chromebooks? Is that what they are? I hate Google as a company more than I hate Apple. So when it comes to those sorts of things, I choose the lesser of the two evils in my own eye. And I think that for me, that is Apple. I think it's not as bad as Google, but I do hate Google, so I wouldn't buy a Chromebook. But I think most people. What I'm trying to get at is you don't need a Mac if you're thinking about getting a computer. Is buy a cheap laptop, maybe throw Linux on there, get Pop OS running. You can get your emails and your Word documents, and you'll get by just fine. What I'm trying to get at, though, is fanboys, right? Consoles. You always hear them talk about which one is better, but very rarely do you hear them discuss a metric that actually counts. So let's look at the current generation. Let's not talk about the Series X or the PS5 because no one's talking to you, Siri. My gosh, got really excited there for a second. We don't have those yet, and maybe at launch it'll look like there's a clear winner, but there's a difference between being the winner and being the best. You know what I mean? Because the Wii beat the PS3 and the 360 in terms of sales, and I think probably cultural influence. Everybody played Wii Sports. How many people played Halo 4? That came out on the 360. So did Halo 3, but I was trying to intentionally pick a bad game. Not to, be unfair to the 360. It did have good games, so did the PS3, but what I'm trying to get at is everyone, literally everyone, knows what a Wii is. Your grandpa played Wii at the retirement home. So, depending on how you look at it, Wii won. And, it's so creepy down here. I'm hearing so many dead things. Also, it's so dark, I can't see in front of me. There could be a skeleton up there and I wouldn't know. I should probably adjust my monitor settings. I'm not going to, though. I'm just going to blindly charge ahead. I found some sort of wooden structure here. Hi, guys. Anyone up here? Oh, Shrek, there's someone up there. Oh, Shrek, there's someone down here. Oh, no. Hey there, buddy. Am I wearing armor? Ugh, I've got a mask. I put on my COVID protection gear to go out looking for marble, and dadgummit, it's worked. But fanboys, right? Let's look at the current generation, and we're gonna break this down. What'll people say? People will say, it's more powerful, right? Okay. If the way you judge which console is the best is by power, then the Xbox wins. Because no matter what... Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's blurring on my screen. That's some weirdness right there. It's not happening for y'all, of course. The Xbox Series X is more powerful than the PS4 Pro, which is more powerful than... a regular PS4, which is more powerful than Xbox One S. So, the Switch is least powerful of all of them, if we're going to consider it part of this generation, which I don't. I consider the Wii U to be part of that generation. I guess the Switch kind of. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not particularly If power, sheer power, is how you determine which console is the best, I'm sorry, Xbox wins because the One X is more powerful than the PS4 Pro. But it surely can't be how we decide which is the best, right? Because most people would say the Xbox sucks, right? I mean, most fanboys certainly would, and they wouldn't really need to give a reason. Other than, I mean, you could point out the sales and say the sales are much worse, but why are the sales worse? What makes the Xbox worse? Give me a real reason. So if we can't say, if sheer power isn't what determines which console is the best, then what is? Well, some people will say exclusives. Some people will say exclusives are what matters. But the thing is, if we're talking about objective best, exclusives are very subjective, and you might not care about Sony's games. I think God of War is probably a good game, but I've not played it. I own it, but I haven't played it. I own Ratchet & Clank, but I haven't finished it. I'd like to. The new one on the Xbox, or on the PS4. Last of Us I don't care about, and I enjoyed the Nathan Drake Uncharted games, but I don't think, like, if going back you told me, hey, would you buy a console based solely on being able to play these games? No, I would not. Why would anyone? They're good games, but I don't think they're system sellers. So what is a system seller? I mean, maybe they are for you. That's the thing. It's subjective. Maybe you love the Uncharted games so much that of course you're going to buy an entire console just to play them. Just because you are doesn't mean someone else is. For me, if I'm deciding which is the best console based on exclusives, I'm going to pick Nintendo because I love Mario and I love Zelda. Those are fantastic games, and if I have to have one system, and it's going to be the best system, and I'm making that decision based on exclusives, which is what you'll oftentimes hear, Sony fanboys screaming about, then yeah, I'm going to go with the Switch, because it's got more games that I actually want to play. It's got the exclusives that I care about, and PC's got more exclusives than all of them together, but that's not relevant. So exclusives only matter in the equation if you personally care about them. They can't be used to make an objective declaration of which console is objectively, definitively better. So where does that put us? We talked about exclusives, that's irrelevant. And if we're talking about power, then the Xbox is the better one. But they're not because they're not selling well. So then what determines it? At the end of the day, you can't really make a declaration of which one is definitively better. I mean, power, yes, that one is easy to point out and say the One X is the most powerful. But in terms of kind of what's going to work best for someone, there's a lot of factors that you have to look at subjectively, I got a 360 not because I thought it was better than the PS3. I genuinely got it because, one, I wanted to play Halo, so I guess exclusives. And then also, big factor, it's what all my friends had. And if I wanted to play with all of my friends on Call of Duty back in the day, I had to get a 360. And, I never looked at people with a PS3 and sort of turned my nose up and said, mine's better, because it wasn't. Games did look better on the 360, even though the PS3 was actually slightly more powerful, but the problem was they had that bizarre architecture they decided to go with under the misguided assumption that, it'll be difficult for devs to make games for it, so they'll focus all of their time on this and neglect the Xbox. But that's not what happened. The slightly marginally weaker Xbox ended up looking better in third-party crossover games because it was just easier to develop games for it. Is it nighttime outside? No. So, but yeah, looking at this generation, the Switch is my favorite. Or, not the Wii U, though. The Wii U was fine. I guess if I had to pick out between Xbox, PS4, and Wii U, I'd say PS4. Because I think the games... 3D World was fun, though. I mean, PC is always going to be my favorite because it is always the... on the things you can look at objectively, it's always going to be the best because you can always build a cheaper PC. You can always buy cheaper PC games. You can always make the PC more powerful. These are sort of the objective things that you can look at. But I think that being fanboy is dumb. Don't be dumb. Don't tell people that what they like is wrong or what you like is somehow better, superior in some way, because you just make yourself look dumb. So to go back home, we need to go that way. I'm going to put down an arrow here. so we can remember that. And there we go. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You know what? We can make it better. We can do even better here. Perfect. Points the way home. Get in our boat and we can keep going that way. And I don't think we're going to find marble, just judging by the fact that we've not found any marble. I'm going to continue on my adventure and continue my sentence that when it comes to making a purchasing decision, you've got to leave this sort of sycophantic, what I have is the best. I know where it comes from, especially for young folks. When you don't have a lot of money, you kind of get what you can get, and then when you have it, you have to justify it, right? Like, you have to justify why you're the only person in your friend group that went out and bought a Wii U. And so you're just going to be like, well, I bought it because it's the best and you're all wrong. But you don't have to do that. It doesn't matter. You don't need to justify your purchasing decisions to anyone else but you. You can be happy with what you have, and you can like something subjectively, even if it is objectively bad. The Star Wars prequels are objectively bad movies. In every metric you use to measure whether or not a film is good, they are not good. But I love them. I love the Star Wars prequels. They're great, and the Disney movies suck and are garbage, and I hate them. That's just personal preference, though. You know, if you like the Disney movies, it's cool. You can be wrong. That's fine. And there's nothing I can do about it. I wouldn't want to do anything about it. You're free to live your life in ignorance and be a fool. That's all up to you. What I'm trying to get at here is that these consoles are coming up right now. I would say personally, if I had to buy one of them, excluding like a new Switch coming out maybe, which would be like an instant buy for me, if I was looking to buy a game console, I would lean toward PS5 because it looks like it's going to have a better game lineup of games that matter to me. They might not matter to you. You might not care about them, but it just seems like a more intriguing buy. And I guess if I really wanted ultimate power, I think the Series X will probably end up being more powerful. But there's nothing really I want to play on it. And also I have a PC, so I can just play all those games on there. And then also I don't recommend buying any of these consoles right now. Never buy a console at launch. Unless there's a launch title that's a knock your socks off, a lifetime event kind of game. Like, I know Cyberpunk's people are really excited about that. Just give it a year. You know, wait it out. See how things sort of go, because you never know if the PS5 is going to have a 360 level red ring of death kind of problem. A lot of people forget the yellow light of death on the PS3, the early PS3. You never know. The PS5 might have a problem like that. And you don't want to get it day one and have just issues with it when you can wait it out 6 months to a year, kind of see where everything falls, wait for more game releases to be announced, kind of see, oh, actually, I am more interested now in Halo Infinite. They've taken the time to sort of clean it up, make it look a little better, and maybe make the overall experience something I'm more interested in. Maybe I will buy an Xbox One X or Series X, you know, or Series S that we now know exists thanks to package. Thanks. Give it time. Give it, because you don't want to drop several $100s on a new console and realize you made a mistake. So give it time, think it out, buy it, and if it's not what you wanted it to be, don't go yelling at people on the internet. Ugh, social media is a cancer. I'm off it. I am off social media. It was one of the decisions I made shortly after leaving YouTube. I was like, I think I hate Twitter. So I don't have Twitter anymore, and I don't have any of the social media accounts anymore. It's fantastic. It's the best way to live your life. If you have social media right now, take my word for it, delete it. You'll be a much happier person. If you're the type of person who's like, well, I need to be informed in my world, just find someone on YouTube who sort of talks about the things you care about, culturally and event-wise, and then watch their YouTube videos and get all of your news that way. And yeah, you won't need to worry about it. Getting news from social media is a bit of a joke anyway. And if that's sort of what you're relying on to know what's going on in the world, that's a problem. Maybe stay home and don't vote if that's the case. If all of your news comes from what people are posting on social media, I don't think you're necessarily qualified to make any sort of decisions about how the country should be led. You know what I mean? But also just delete. So you'll be a happier person. You'll be just in a much better sort of mental state, personally speaking. Never going back. Absolutely hated it. But you don't go around yelling at people for, like, oh my god, like, you bought the PlayStation and you're regretting it now because Halo Infinite turned out to be the best thing ever. It probably won't be, but I'm just setting up a scenario here where you then have to get online and be like, I'm so full of rage at myself and all of these people who are enjoying their Xbox Series X. Can't believe it. I'm so mad. I've got to defend my purchase. And then you just go yelling at everyone. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Because that person's miserable. And you're better than that. It's okay to like what you like. And if you don't like what you got, it's okay to admit that to yourself and to others. And maybe kind of guide them along the proper path. Yeah, you're right. Buy a Switch, though. Those are great. Love those. Mario games. Oh, loving it. Skyward Sword HD. Hopefully. Oh, my goodness. 35th anniversary of Zelda's next year. We're going to get like a Zelda All-Stars pack like we did with the Mario. With like an HD... all the HD games. Oh, no. What if they bring back Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time on a single cart? But it's just the 64 versions moderately upscaled like they did with Mario 64. That would suck, wouldn't it? At least make it the 3DS versions where the controls are better and it looks actually better and the environments are improved and they've got models instead of just painted backdrops and things. Do that. Don't bring the N64 versions out. No one wants that. Don't do that, Nintendo. Nintendo! More like Nintendo. Don't you dare do that. I'm watching you. Nintendo frustrates me, though. I do wish that sort of everything that was ever made by Nintendo was on the Switch. Officially. You can hack the Switch and you can put whatever you want to on it. I understand that. But if I could just go on the eShop and I can get every Zelda game ever made for every system, like all of them, that would be swell. I'd be so pleased with that. I can't even begin to put into words how excited I would be to finally be able to play the Minish Cap, a game that I have not been able to play up until now. And oh no. Oh, good. Okay, it survived. I know I could technically just, I could emulate it if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I want it on my Switch. Just why can't you do that? And what's the problem? Why are you having so much problem, Nintendo? Don't you like money? Don't you want money? Just put them all on the Switch. I'll give you money. Nah, I don't think we're finding Marble today. We've traveled a great long distance, and I think it's time we head back home and just accept the fact that Marble isn't happening. There is no Marble in the world. I mean, it shows up here if we look at it. My character looks so cute. Just sort of sat there thinking about the world and stuff. Marble's there. Project Red Exploration has got Marble. And then I thought there was another type of marble as well, but maybe not. Maybe it was some other white block. I can't recall. I can't recall. My parting. Alright. Heading towards the sinking sun now. We're going back home. Hey, thank you folks for watching. God bless each and every single one of you out there. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.